Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I've got a video for you about game balancing. I've had a lot of spare time lately to kind of sit around and think about balancing the new weapons in MWR or the characters in Overwatch, and it's just an important topic in general. It's important whether you're playing an old nostalgic game like MWR, or if you're going to be playing the fanciest, most futuristic space shooter on the planet like Infinite Warfare, which we will have a bit of gameplay of today. Also hope you enjoy the little analogous gameplay of the hipfire LMGs here, several sequels apart. But I've been asking myself, how would I do it? And an idea came to me during last week's Throwback Thursday stream when I was playing Advanced Warfare. I just was playing this game and I was talking about all the crazy, kooky kind of weapons that, some would shoot slow and then fast and your accuracy would change, or the first 5 bullets of the KF5 would deal more damage. And it occurred to me that Advanced Warfare and many other Call of Duty games were using balancing levers, or levers depending on how you want to pronounce it. I'm probably going to say levers, even though that's the British pronunciation, just kind of how it is in my head. And the simplest way, or one of the simplest ways to balance a game, or to make your job balancing it easier, is to add more levers. And you're going to say, okay, Drifter, what in the world is a lever? What are you talking about? I don't see any buttons or things or knobs to push. A lever is basically a variable that can be adjusted, just a thing in the game that you can change on the fly to achieve the balancing that you need. So roughly speaking, more levers equals more variables equals easier time balancing. Game developers do it all the time. You can see a good example of this on Overwatch with the new mechanics added with Bastion and Orisa, both that they have damage reductions which were unique to that game. But I first heard about it in League of Legends, showing you a little bit of ARAM gameplay here with Callista, who I'm terrible with, but it's League of Legends and it counts. The launch champions in this game were really simple, like press E to do 50 more damage on hit, and now they're all like E passive on 5 stacks of gumdrops, hit for 3% bonus health magic damage to the enemy, E active bind to a teammate to achieve something, it's crazy and it's kind of annoying. And yeah, while it's annoying, the more levers or items or variables you have in these moves, the better you can balance them and the easier they are to adjust. That's kind of the example between maybe old Warwick and new Warwick, or old Poppy and new Poppy. The balance levers are in place. This same idea applies to Call of Duty, and looking back, I can see all 3 studios doing it. Even you can see it with Treyarch, Infinity Ward, and with Sledgehammer, but today I'm mostly going to focus on comparing MWR, which is the simplest, to Advanced Warfare and IW. So, for example, in Modern Warfare Remastered, your gun, which is the primary thing they focus on balancing since your health is fixed, your gun will have damage, rate of fire, recoil, and range. So if you've got high damage, you need to have lower rate of fire, or if you've got high damage and high rate of fire, the recoil needs to be god-awful or have a range that's kind of lower, something to kind of balance out. And yeah, there's some other ones such as reload and iron sights, but those are the primary things. But that's, say, 4 things, or 4 big variables you can adjust, which means that that's it. Outside of those 4 variables, that's all you're really adjusting in that game, and that can make it really challenging to come up with unique weapons that are balanced and fun, or sometimes just balanced, period. Compared to Advanced Warfare, there's a lot of guns with different initial behaviors. For example, the KF5 submachine gun, the first 5 bullets deal more damage, and then you reload it and the first 5 will deal damage again. Or how the BAL fires faster over time, or how the HBR fires the first couple shots incredibly fast, but then the other ones at a lower rate of fire but with less recoil. Each one of these initial behaviors is essentially a new type of balancing lever. Not only does it promote more uniqueness in the weapons, in that they're not all just firing at the same rate and doing the same thing over and over again, but they have different feels and quirks to them, but they have different things to adjust. You can adjust the damage and range of the first 5 shots of the KF5. You can adjust the rate of fire or speed change with the BAL. You can adjust the recoil or the number of shots or the speed of the burst of the HBR, and then you can adjust the rest of the fire rate. You can do a lot of interesting things with these sort of or initial state guns, as I would call them. Looking at Infinite Warfare, you can see the same thing going on with the dual mode guns like the Type 2, the EBR, and most recently the RVN or the Raven, which I gotta admit was absolutely fun as hell. I know I criticize Infinite Warfare a lot on this channel. Absolutely love the Raven, fantastic gun. I have a big, e-boner for it, but still not necessarily my game of choice. But with these weapons, like the Type 2, it's an assault rifle that breaks apart into akimbo submachine guns. You can balance the assault rifle part and the submachine gun part independently of each other and take into consideration how powerful they could be together. Same thing with the EBR. It's kind of a bad sniper rifle, kind of a bad assault assault rifle, but together it's a very useful overall tactical package, enough to get banned in competitive. And, you know, you can balance each part independently, same way with the Raven. So, essentially what you're saying is more levers equals better balance, right? And I'm going to say sometimes. Sometimes you end up with too many levers, and the game gets too complicated for people to understand, and it's not particularly fun. League of Legends definitely has this problem with new champions. I think Tom Kench is the one that kind of tilts me off the planet with the complexity of his moves and the damage they deal and kind of how it works. It's very, very frustrating in a lot of ways. So there's a fine balance to strike between the beauty of simplicity, variety, and human understanding. For example, when it comes to simplicity's sake, Modern Warfare Remastered has that pretty much nailed, and especially with your 3 red perks. Do you go stealth? Do you go health? Do you go damage? The guns are relatively straightforward and simple. Variety, ultimately not there. You can look at variety in IW and Infinite Warfare, and they are there, but it's much harder to keep the balance straight with all these different things going on, and it's also much harder for humans to kind of understand how the guns work. The amount of weird scenarios or things that I had to test or community beliefs associated with these games was very, very high on my end. And of course, having too many levers can actually make balance harder because of too many unique or niche situations with one unusual lever versus another unusual lever, and you can do some really odd things. So balancing the balancing tools is an act unto itself. And like many technical topics or technical professions, there is an art and a science to game design. And it's not just adding more of this or double checking that or focus testing. There's definitely an art to it, a feel to it that you need to have. I didn't really have a point for this commentary, just some interesting thoughts that I wanted to share with you because it occurred to me like an epiphany recently. And maybe if there's any takeaway, it's that the next time something's out of whack in a Call of Duty game, maybe the next time something is imbalanced or frustrating, instead of demanding a nerf to that thing or a buff to other things, you could maybe ask for more levers, ask for more variables, ask for an additional option to be added in so that we could balance it better. Guys, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something useful, and if you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.